Practice problem. The figure shows the market for paper. Use the figure to answer the following question. What are the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity of paper? What is the efficient quantity of paper? The equilibrium in the figure is where supply and demand curve intersect. The equilibrium price is at $5 and the equilibrium quantity is 30 tons per day. Market is efficient where marginal benefit on the demand curve equals marginal cost on the supply curve and total surplus, that is consumer surplus plus producer surplus, is maximized. In the market equilibrium, use the figure above to shade the consumer surplus and the producer surplus. Calculate the consumer surplus, producer surplus and the total surplus. The surplus is equals the area of the darker triangle which is calculated by the area of the triangle, that is half times the height, that is 9 minus 5, and the base is 30, and which equals $60. The producer surplus equals the area of the lighter triangle, that is half times the base is 30 and the height is 5 minus 1, and which equals $75. The total surplus equals $60 plus $75 is equal to $135. The third question is, lobbyists for a group of a news magazine persuade the government to pass a law that requires producers to sell 40 tons paper per day. Is the market for paper efficient? Why or why not? Shade the deadweight loss on the figure. If the producers has to sell 40 tons of paper a day as per law, then the market is inefficient because marginal cost exceeds marginal benefit because of overproduction. Deadweight loss equals the area of the gray triangle 1 in the figure. The fourth is, the environmental lobbying group persuades the government to pass a law that limits the quantity of paper that producers sell to 20 tons a day. Is the market for paper efficient? If not, what is the deadweight loss? The market is inefficient because of underproduction. Marginal benefit exceeds marginal cost. The deadweight loss equals the area of the gray triangle 2 in figure. The fifth question is, who benefits from a deadweight loss? No one gains from a deadweight loss created by a market failure. Deadweight loss is a decrease in consumer surplus and producer surplus that results from an inefficient level of production. The deadweight loss is borne by the society. It is not a loss for the consumers and a gain for the producers. It is a social loss. 6.5 practice problem. The first question is, in the United States, richer people generally pay a larger fraction of their income as taxes than do poorer people. Is this arrangement fair? Answer from a fair results view and a fair rules view. The arrangement of transfer of income through taxes from rich to poor is fair from fair result view because there is a rearrangement of income from rich to poor, but unfair from fair rules view because it is not a voluntary exchange. Second one, suppose that during their working lifetimes, Matt and Pat have earned identical incomes as computer programmers. The only difference between the two is that Matt spent all of his income while Pat saved a large portion of hers. Now that they are retired, Pat's income is substantially higher than the Matt's because of Pat's saving. Is it fair for Pat's income to be higher than the Matt's? Answer from a fair results and from the fair rules perspective. It is unfair from fair result perspective because there is no equal distribution of income between Pat and Matt. Pat's income is to be substantially higher than Matt. It is fair from fair rules perspective because Pat and Matt had the same opportunity. Third one, what is the effect of the big trade-off in transferring income from people with high incomes to people with low incomes? When there is transfer of income from rich to poor by levying taxes, discourages work. This tax results in the quantity of labor being less than the efficient quantity. Similarly, taxing income from capital discourages savings, which results in the quantity of capital being less than the efficient quantity. With less labor and less capital than the efficient amounts, the total amount of production is less than the efficient amount. So, greater the amount of income distribution through income taxes, the greater is the inefficiency and the smaller is the economic pie. Fourth one, according to the fair rules approach to fairness, is it fair for the government to limit the prices sellers charge for bottled water after a flood destroys a town's water supply? Why or why not? Limiting the price that can be charged is unfair because it compels the sellers to help, and such compulsion is unfair since the sellers is not engaging in a voluntary transaction. An earthquake destroys the homes of a quarter of a city's population. People who are lucky enough to own one of the remaining homes offer rooms for rent at the higher amount that people are willing to pay. The first question is, who gets to occupy the available rooms? Who receives the consumer surplus and who receives the producer surplus on rooms? The available rooms are occupied by those people who value the rooms the most will occupy the rooms because they will be the people willing to pay the highest price for the rooms. The consumers who occupy the rooms are the consumers who receive the consumer surplus. The homeowners renting the room receive the producer surplus. Is the allocation of rooms efficient? By what principle of fairness is the allocation is fair or unfair? The outcome is efficient. The outcome is unfair based on the fair results principle because poor cannot afford to rent the rooms. The outcome is fair based on fair rules principle because the homeowner's property rights are enforced and there is voluntary exchange between the homeowners and renters.